PSA Group, the company that helps navigate foreign investors in Poland. And we are here to discuss the Seaports. Today, during the discussions, we touched a lot the three C's initiatives, and where best to start than from the Seaports. And here we have with us here today Marcin Kamola from DCT Gdansk. Hello, Marcin.
Hello.
And we have
nice
also
to be here.
Voje Livaja from Port Ploce from Croatia. I hope he has joined us. I can't see him on the screen, but we will start with Marcin then. Marcin, the first question I would like to invite you to reflect a little bit on the past. What has changed over the last couple of months or several months? Of course, I'm talking about the effect of pandemia, the impact that it might have had on your operations, but maybe it has increased your capacity, or maybe it has helped you develop things faster than you had happened without the pandemic. So what has happened? What was the effect of the pandemic on DCT Gdansk? And what are the lessons that you've learned over the last several months?
That's a very...
Yep. Okay, Marcin, then the floor is for the presentation, and it will be followed by the questions then. Sorry for that.
No problem. Okay, so I will now switch to my presentation. Of course, then I suppose during the presentation, I will also touch a little bit what happened during the pandemic, but of course we can discuss it further because it was a really, really big lesson, and actually this lesson is still ongoing. Okay, so the fundamental question is, do you see my presentation?
Yes, we begin to see your presentation. Yes, it's visible now.
Okay, so once again, I'm happy to be here with you. I'm happy to represent DCT Gdansk here at this fantastic event. And I represent a container terminal, one of the container terminals in Poland, the largest container terminal in the Baltic Sea, the largest container terminal in Central and Eastern Europe, because we are covering we are covering the area of Central Eastern Europe, three seas, Black Sea, Adriatic, Baltic Sea, and here in Gdansk we have the container terminal that's largest of all the container terminals in all this area. So welcome to DCT Gdansk. I'm talking to you from my home office today, but you can see on the picture the terminal with a capacity of 3 million 20-foot containers, making 2 million TEUs every year, and actually growing and growing. We are part of PSA International Group. PSA is a Singaporean leading global port group, active in over 50 locations in 26 countries around the world. We are also owned by Polish Development Fund, by PFR, and the Australian Infrastructure Fund, IFM, one of the largest infrastructure investment funds in the world. Nevertheless, we are treated as a part of the PSA family that is active, as you see from this map, in Americas, in Europe, Asia, and this the main focus of our group currently, but as it is developing very fast, and we are also part of this group from 2019. We are also the first investment in Central and Eastern Europe. So the terminal itself was opened in 2007, although the whole idea of building a container terminal in the port of Gdansk, it would be completely different to all the container terminals that were in that time built on the Baltic Sea. And the difference was that first it was to be a deep sea terminal, so able to handle vessels with a draft of 15 meters. So we needed to be at least 16.5, 17 meters draft, able to handle the largest vessels afloat, afloat at the time of planning and afloat at the time of the future. So the idea was to build something that is for now, but it's also for the next decades. That was to help the port of Gdansk to transform into the port of 21st century. So currently, that's a terminal of capacity of 3 million TEU. As I said, we are handling around 2 million TEUs, 2 million containers every year, working on an area of 80 hectares, and with 8 hectares currently under development, with all the equipment and 1,000 employees working 24/7 to make the volumes flow and economy grow, and of course to help our customers just to use the best infrastructure for the best cost. So we are infrastructure, we are logisticians. In logistics, you have many factors that they are taken into account, but finally, it is the cost that is most important. Nevertheless, in the last years, it is also sustainability that is part of this logistics factors, and we are also coming into this game with first being 100% green energy driven in terms of electric power, and going into the way to be carbon neutral up to 2050. Although by 2050, and we are 2021, so we have, maybe someone could say it's a long horizon, but it takes some time to reshape the terminal, the infrastructure you had. Although from 2016, anything we build, anything we buy, has to be able to work first on electricity, and second to work on green energy if it's electrified. And the next thing is that if you have anything powered by diesel, we are investigating retrofitting into hybrid drive options, just to be a part of our customers, not only in logistics, but also in creating sustainable logistics chains. Sorry, I have just a technical problem with my presentation. Just a second. Just a second, I need to restart my presentation. So it's Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft PowerPoint is not happy to cooperate with me.
During these hybrid conversations, we hope to see each other soon.
So I believe that I'm back with my presentation. So I can also elaborate a little bit on my. Excuse my just echoing. It's not visible yet.
It is visible now.
Okay. So why we are here in Gdansk? We are in Gdansk because, of course, there was not such infrastructure here on the Baltic Sea. The second thing was that there was a market that needed to be catered. The market that's, when you take the whole Eastern Europe and Southern Eastern Europe, almost 200 million people, taking into account also Russia, for which, of course, Baltic Sea is one of the most important gateways to the world. What we still understood and what we still see, it's of course that the sea is growing faster than than the rest of Europe, and it was in 2019. In 2020, when the pandemic came, it was also the case, and it was also one of the things we learned, that if the economic is shrinking, the international trade in Poland is not. And even if we've been seeing that our volumes in 2020 were declining, so we have at the same time we've seen that the Polish import and export is growing. So it was seen that we've seen, and we've understood it in both in 2008, so it was the first crisis, then in 2014, then was a problem with the sanctions for Russia, and the tensions between Ukraine and Russia, that even if the economies of these countries were going down, still we've seen that the volumes in the ports are growing. So and of course Polish economy was growing all the time. So all the diversity of Polish economy was showing that this a good partner for its international partners, and we are in a port, so we are just serving this international trade. What else? Infrastructure. You can see on this map that actually there are now in Northern Europe there are 3 ports without real navigational restrictions, and Gdansk is one of them. And Gdansk is at the same time the only port of that kind on the Baltic Sea. So that's all helping us to bring containers and actually bring customers to our port. Next thing, location. We are located on the outside part of the port of Gdansk, and initially 2007 we were just the terminal in the port, and we were claiming that we are here to start some kind of a logistic revolution in the port of Gdansk, to be the partner of the port-centric logistics ideas that should also emerge in the port. So let's bring logistics to the port. Not that for many years there was a thinking and also a practice that port to ports, logistics to logistics, and logistics is done in the middle of Poland. Currently, we have one logistic park running just 1 kilometer from our gate, run by GLP, and formerly it was Goodman. Another logistic park just not far away from DCT, built by Panatoni, and of course Panatoni building additional logistics parks all around Tri-City, so area of Gdansk, Gdynia, Sopot, and surrounding communities, and the third one being built by 7L Logistics, and of course it's also a place where Northvolt, so the producer of batteries for cars and industrial equipment, is also planning to build its facility. So with perfect connection on the water side, perfect connection on the land side, and also perfect location for logistics, we actually became part of a big logistics hub that Port of Gdansk is emerging into. So just a history in numbers. 2007 we opened, actually making almost nothing. 2008, the first full year of operations, you can see that our numbers were very small. 2020, Polish port handle almost, in 2019, almost 3 million TEU. You can see a decline in 2020, with what I said, local cargo going 4% up at the same time. So we've been losing transshipment volumes, so volumes that are sent through Gdansk to all the ports of the Baltic Sea, starting from Sweden, finishing in Russia. But still the Polish economy is growing. In 2021, we are almost 14% up in comparison to 2019. So the volumes are back. What happened in the last years? We had only 2 ports in Europe managed to enter top 15 of Polish European container ports, and it was Gdansk that went from position 63 to position 15, and Piraeus in Greece from position 17 to position 4. So we are just also newcomer to this pack, but also growing and trying to catch as much market as possible to get it directly to the Baltic Sea. We are connected twice a week with Far East, so working with all major shipping lines in the world: Maersk Line, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, OOCL, COSCO, Evergreen. So from top 10 in the world, you have 8 here in our terminal, connecting at this time mainly with direct connection to China, working with American companies like Amazon that use our port for their business, being also gateway for Polish cargo going all over the world. Of course, if going to China or Korea, that's direct. If going to let's say States or Americas altogether, in transshipment through other ports. But just that's what we have here. Still developing. Terminal is expanding all the time, never stopping in expansion. In small expansions like we have here, 6.5 hectares currently under development, 1.5 currently almost finished. Expanding our yard, expanding our berth, expanding railway siding. What's important currently, this railway terminal is the largest railway container terminal in Poland, with a capacity of 1 million TEU that is aiming to have end of this year. This will be also one of the largest container railway ports in Europe. So we are aiming to be in the game of the big terminals, of the big ports, without trying to think who's larger, who's bigger. We want to be in the game, investing in automation, thinking about Internet of Things, and that's all we want to achieve in the next 2 years. After 2022, also big plans. We have prepared. We have prepared a bid into a tender led by the Port of Gdansk, and we want to expand the terminal further into the sea. If we expand it up as we wish up to 2030, this terminal may double its capacity, so from 3 million to 6 or 7 million to capacity, bringing the size of this terminal to the league of the largest container terminals in Europe and one of the largest single container terminals in the world. As I said, connected not only with Asia, connected with every port in the Baltic Sea. You can see connections to Sweden, to Finland, Baltic states, Russia, and anywhere. On the other side, on the land side, connected with all container terminals in Poland, also connected with Czechia, with Ostrava region. We have also connections to Ukraine via terminals in eastern Poland. We have connections to Belarus. We are able to also to self-serve Slovakia. So this is something that has started from a small terminal in the port of Gdansk and is currently changing into a regional hub, but still we are on the way to be a big regional hub. Let's say just an example of connections to Czech Republic. Our volumes there are growing tremendously, 100% annually. Of course, we've started from quite a small base, but we are constantly showing that geography is the thing that this is also more important in logistics. So if we have the same, almost the same sea freight cost to Hamburg and Koper and Gdansk, still on the land side, the distance is benefit of Gdansk. So from Hamburg to Czech Republic, you have 900 kilometers to Ostrava region. From Koper, so that's Adriatic port, you have 850, and from Gdansk you have 630 kilometers. Nevertheless, a few years ago, when the infrastructure was really poor, and now we are finalizing the highway, A1 highway from Gdansk to Ostrava, and now the truck driver may do this route in 8-9 hours. But previously, a few years ago, the travel from Hamburg to Ostrava, 900 kilometers by truck, was faster than the 600 from Gdansk to Ostrava. So it's showing how infrastructure development is important when you want to be a port and you want to offer to your customers the best solutions for the least cost. Because on the land side, every kilometer is a cost. It's no difference. So just summarizing, I think that I will be able to answer some of the questions if are from the moderator or from the guests of this conference. So we are the largest container terminal in the Baltic with no marine access restrictions. Very cost-effective hub. So that's if a shipping line decides to come here and starts operating, we are almost sure that it must be a very tough decision if they decide to leave the terminal, because we are just a good operations facility. We have proven capability to handle the biggest ships in the world twice a week. The largest vessels afloat, called DCT Gdansk, connecting us with Far East, with best hinterland connections. Almost 500,000 containers every year are transported to DCT or from DCT by rail. 600,000 trucks every year also use this terminal. Unique location. We've helped our customers to grow, and we also benefit from their growth. Very important thing that we still have long-term room to grow with perspective for the next 10, 15, 20, or even 30 years to be here, to grow, and to promote Poland and the Baltic Sea as a hub for Europe. So that's a short introduction, short presentation. Was happy to share it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to be here and answer every question that I'm able to, of course.
Thank you, Marcin, for this comprehensive presentation, and congratulations on how you advances things at Gdańsk with DCT. You've already answered my initial question about the impact of the pandemic. I congratulate you one more about how you managed to go through untouched, rather, compared to other sectors, and it's clear to me that you're on the rise. You're a newcomer in terms of the important ports in Europe. I'd like to ask you a question about important milestones. Some of them you've mentioned, but maybe to paraphrase them, to highlight them to our audience. What was the capacity? What's the current capacity that I've heard that you've achieved this year? An important milestone in terms of the capacity of the containers, and what's the future major investments that can help develop the DCT Gdansk port into a major European hub, not only for Baltic but for the CEE region. Can you please elaborate?
Very good question. Thank you very much. So just comparison in numbers. So when the terminal was opened in 2007, we started with one small vessel a week. So it was 50 vessels a year. Now we are serving 600 vessels every year, and 100 of them are the largest vessels in the world. So we started from something like small to something really big. The second thing, the terminal capacity in 2007 was 500,000 containers a year. So it was an average size terminal for the Baltic Sea. Now the terminal capacity is 3 million. And every year, I've started working at DCT in 2012. And actually from 2008, the terminal started developing. Even if we've understood that we are, as a newcomer, it may be a little bit tougher position. We never stopped investing because we knew that if you want to go into the major league, we need to be able to serve as the champion of the major league. Yeah. So that's we always are aiming to be the best student in the class. And this kind of thinking is helping us to do. that's also what I said. We are working on further developments to make this terminal not a big terminal, but a very huge terminal, a very huge terminal with a capacity to optimize, because what we do is not only just serve content, but also every day you need to optimize to make as least non-productive moves as possible, just to be a productive business. And the third thing, if you want to grow and to be not only a hub for Gdansk, not only a hub for Poland, but if you want to be a hub for Central and Eastern Europe, we need a very good infrastructure connections. We need good connections to Czech Republic. So not only through as they are now with A1, but also of course connections with roads making a shortest possible way to western part of Czech Republic, to Prague, railway connections, railway border crossings. What we always put really big pressure on is modernizing of Polish infrastructure, Polish railway infrastructure, into a standard of 750-meter long trains, and not only in the middle of Poland, and not only on small pieces of the network, but all on the, we ask for network thinking. So if someone is thinking, where should we go with 750-meter long trains? It's not, just pieces of the network, but think about Gdansk, let's say, to Prague, and what to do with this investment. So some years ago, when I was saying that why we cannot think like let's say Swiss do, or Austrians do, or Italians, that we have tunnels all around Alps, and in Poland, in Slovakia or Czech Republic, we have problems with passing through the mountains that are not as tall not as high as mountains in the Alps, and we need to change this thinking and build this infrastructure to make this connectivity as best as possible, because it's finally, in this logistics chain, it's not the terminal that is earning the most. Every final customer is getting a better service, because the geography and the distance is playing the major thing in the logistics.
Thank you. And my next question would be about the challenges in terms of. It seems to me from your presentation that you're very courageous in answering and responding to the biggest challenges of the 21st century. You've mentioned the carbon neutral or zero emission ambitions, but you also touched about the IoT, Internet of Things, and automation, and increasing the capacity. I would like to ask you to elaborate a little bit more on that subject, on that matter of digitization. How is it important to DCT Gdansk, or maybe it is something that is already in the pipeline of investments, or is it something that your business partners, are asking for in terms of way the things are managed in the port? Do you have anything to share with us, or any ideas, or anything that is interesting in this regard?
Yeah, definitely. There are two perspectives of this. So first is interconnecting terminal and presenting the information we have to the customers, because everyone wants visibility in the logistics chain, and that's something that's all the blockchain initiatives, all the data exchange systems, just to make people see what's going on with their cargo. So someone is investing in let's say in imports, and he puts cargo in a container in China, and he would like to know what's happening with this cargo for the next 60 days. Currently, he can try to monitor where is the vessel, but sometimes he's not sure that the container is on the vessel that he was booking on. So it's something to help to take the information from some kind of an information fog, from the fog to the cloud, I would say. And that's PSA has many different solutions as in this. There are solutions helping to show where's the container, where's the information, to interact between the customer and the terminal, between the customer and the customs office. So we are also partnering in the port community system that is being developed in Poland, just to help this visibility to be as good as possible, because someone is investing in something and wants to know what's going on with his cargo. And that's one perspective. The second perspective is the automation in the of the equipment, automation of the processes. So we went into automation of processes, so the gate process, OCRs, making people book everything through the internet, just make the connectivity with the system, with the terminal, as easy as possible with your mobile, with your phone. But then we go into automation of the equipment, and that's something tougher, because we are not currently a terminal that is automated, and there's not much that we can learn from in Poland. Of course, many terminals in the world are automating or semi-automating, and that's the way that we are also planning to follow. Initially, with some kind of small laboratory, we want to start with learning with a small amount of equipment, how to use the equipment into automated processes. And if we go into further developments, the aim is that the equipment will be partially automated and the terminal will be partially automated. Of course, with having in our minds that in the future this will be something that's a track that you cannot actually change, and automation is the process. And of course, it's also changing the thinking of the company itself, and of course changing the employees, changing the structure of the company. So you need more people that are qualified or automation, qualified in robotics. Actually, we are now searching the schools, even primary schools, when there are courses of robotics, that you can try to engage kids in working with Lego robots. But finally, when this kid is finishing his school, is finishing his high school, he is then in 5, 6, 7 years he may be our employee. And I've been into Singapore to see how the guys in Singapore were going in automation. Of course, they have the same ideas. It seemed that if someone is playing computer games and making GTA missions in the container terminal, for them it's really easier to be a supervisor for automated terminal than the people that actually worked on the crane for many years and do not feel this computer science or computer computer games as the younger do.
Wow, congratulations on that too. It seems that you're taking seriously the ambition to become one of the most important seaports in Europe, and I wish for you to become in the number 5, maybe the biggest and the most important seaports in next 10 years. Do you think what's your ambition? Do you think it would be possible for Gdansk to become one of the 5 major ports in Europe, or what would be the prerequisite for that to happen? Like, what kind of investment? You've mentioned the networks, the railroads, the investment on roads as well. So it's not only up to you; it's also up to the state and the further infrastructure investments. But is there anything else that is lacking, or maybe still in shortage, and we should focus, maybe tell that to the government to focus on that too?
So of course what we should talk to the government is that we need infrastructure on the land side, but of course we need to develop it. We need to have open space to extend the terminal, because without having additional quays, without having additional yard capacity, we are not able to serve additional vessels. So we are the port. So port without vessels is not a business, and that's what we see, that thinking and that interconnectivity is actually running. So we see that our ideas that we try to pass to the government are really materializing. So we see also in the documents, if we few years ago we started thinking let's say, how to say it, we've started showing the importance of corridor thinking about 750-meter long trains. We have made some studies showing in which places we see that the infrastructure will be lacking this capacity. I mean, railway infrastructure, and suddenly, you know, after a few years, we see that this finally in the main documents showing the perspective of development of the infrastructure, it is put. So we see that the government is really listening to what the industry is saying. Of course, we are just, you know, part of this industry, although with 20 million tons that we handle, you know, 2 million TEU when you put it into tons at 20 million. So it's quite a large amount when you look on the terminals, on the ports. So we try to be visible in Warsaw, to be so the perspective of the Polish coast is properly understood in Warsaw. Nevertheless, we need to invest. If we don't invest, we will not catch these volumes. If is this perspective to be in top 5? So my CEO, I hope he's watching me, says that if we don't go into top 5, so we are a loser. So we should do it.
Okay, so I wish you will become top 5 in years to come, and I keep fingers crossed for that. I'm sure the rest of the audience as well. Thank you, Marcin, for joining us today. I'm checking if there are any questions, maybe from the audience on the internet. I'm not sure we have this connection. I hope with your presentation and the additional questions that you answered were already very comprehensive, and I think you've touched a lot of subjects, and we can clearly see the importance of the DCT Gdansk and how it adds to this 3 Cs initiatives, how important it is in this in the spectrum of big infrastructural investments in the region. So once again, congratulations, and thank you, Marcin, for joining us today at the conference North America CEE Investment Summit and Awards. Thank you. And
thank you very much. Thank you, Marek.
Okay, I'm checking if there is